Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. It is with a heavy heart that I rise today to speak in opposition of these immigration bills. Immigration and all that it encompasses is an important issue for me and very personal because as those illegals are quite often at the center of our debate, I too was once an undocumented immigrant. A former undocumented immigrant, a former illegal alien, is your colleague standing before you today. I was born in Reynosa, Mexico, and brought to the United States as an infant child, like so many other young adults throughout our country. Also, like many other families, my parents came to the U.S. with the hope and dream of a better life and opportunities for their two daughters. My family and I entered the country with the visitor's visa and overstayed our visas. We lived in undocumented status for 8 years until the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. We became legal permanent residents, and at age 18, I became a naturalized citizen. The discussion regarding laws affecting undocumented immigrants, like the ones we are discussing today, are not hypothetical for me. It's something that my family and I have lived, something that many families in the United States continue to live each day. During the time that we lived in undocumented status, and although I was just a little girl, I remember the constant fear my family lived with each day. The fear my parents experienced each day as their two little girls went to school, not knowing if there would be an immigration raid that day, and they wouldn't be there to pick up their daughters from school, and not knowing who would take care of them if they were deported. My parents worked hard to provide a better life for my sister and for me. My mother worked the day shift and my father worked the night shift to make sure one of them would always be there for us. The daily task of going to the grocery store to buy food for your family may seem like a simple task, but for my family, it meant risking the chances of encountering an immigration raid at the grocery store and having our family separated. And I vividly remember, as an elementary school student, I would shy away whenever my classmates discussed where they were born. I knew I wasn't a U.S. citizen and feared the reactions of my classmates if they knew I was not a citizen. And I see myself in many of those students now that share the same fear of being deported or having their parents deported, wondering what's going to happen to them if their parents are deported, who's going to pick them up from school, where will they go? Where will they live? And some say that immigrant children are a drain on our public schools and institutions of higher education, but I don't consider myself a drain. I graduated at age 16 with honors, earned my bachelor's in law degree, and was elected to the Texas House of Representatives 18 years ago at the age of 27. And I know there are many other immigrants out there like me waiting to be given the opportunity that I was given to achieve the American dream. I know firsthand the impact that these immigration bills will have on many families that are currently in the same legal status in which my family once was. Mothers that will be afraid to even go to the store to buy groceries for the family or to volunteer at their children's school. I know how these bills will push immigrants into the shadows, making our communities less safe, as immigrants will be reluctant to report crime or provide evidence and testimony in the prosecution of criminal offenses. And as a mother now, I have a better appreciation for the sacrifices my parents made for me. To leave a country they called home, come to a country where they didn't know the language, carrying with them nothing more than a suitcase containing the entire family's belongings and a heart full of dreams for a better life for their family. Honestly, I would do the same for my son. There is nothing I wouldn't do to protect him or to provide for him. And this is the third time I speak before this legislative body to share my story. And it never gets easier. But I do it proudly because it is my duty to stand up for what is just and be the voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. And as you consider these bills, I ask you to think of the unintended consequences and of all the families that will be harmed by these bills. Families that are only here in search of a better life, just like mine. I ask you to think of all the children that will be in fear of having their parents deported, just like I was. And I urge you to vote against this bill.